What is up, everyone? Thanks for checking out Shinsen88 Gaming. I have something very special for you here today. You know, I get excited anytime I see the Dreamcast logo. This is one of my all-time favorite games, and one that I think not enough people know about. Let me ask you, do you like Japanese mecha? Do you like fighting games? Do you like Capcom? Well, I have some good news for you. This is Techromancer, or in Japanese, Choukou Senki Kikaioh. This game came out in the arcade in 1998, and was later ported to the Dreamcast in 2000, which is where I played it. Essentially, Techromancer is a one-on-one fighting game that is basically a love letter to Japanese mecha in all its forms. Each of the characters plays out sort of as an homage to a particular subgenre. So do you like super robot anime like Getter Robo or Gunbuster? There's a mech for that. Do you like military mecha anime like Gundam? There's a mech for that. How about a magical girl anime with a mecha twist? There's a mech for that. Transforming mecha closer to Macross? There's a mech for that. What about a grittier, almost Mech Warrior inspired sort of media? You guessed it, there's a mech for that. Techromancer has all of these and more. Before we move on, let's actually get into the actual gameplay. Techromancer plays out as a one-on-one fighting game in a 3D plane. You're sort of locked left and right, but you can sidestep. Controls are fairly basic, with a button for melee, a sort of special attack, a jump, and a block. And special moves can be performed by pressing two buttons together or by using directional combinations. They're actually pretty simple. Rather than using quarter circles in the typical Capcom fashion, most specials are performed by pressing back forward or forward back and then your button of choice. You can also perform a sidestep or dodge attack, and you can use various items that appear in the field as you play. Your character has a certain number of life bars depending upon what you choose in the options, as well as an armor gauge. Armor decreases your chip damage when active, but generally breaks upon taking melee damage. Each character can also perform a final attack, which is sort of like a fatality when the opponent's life bar is at 50%, and you have all the flashy special moves, or hyper combos, whatever you want to call them, that you would expect. So a big portion of the appeal of Techromancer comes from the theme. Like I mentioned, each character basically represents a different trope or subgenre of mecha anime. Capcom actually recruited several prominent mecha adjacent, I guess you could say, individuals for this project. The initial artwork and concept were done by Sho Sakai and Haruki Tsuetsugu, who goes by Sensei. These two worked on titles like Armored Warriors, Cyberbots, Street Fighter II, and some of the Mega Man games. The mechs were actually designed by Studio Nue, who did designs for anime, such as Macross, Tapo Nerai, or Gunbuster, and Gundam 0083. Each of the designs is pretty unique, pretty recognizable, and in my opinion, iconic, and they vary in terms of theme and gameplay. In my opinion, there's actually a lot of joy to be had just from seeing the over-the-top designs and fighting styles. Now, the game technically only has two gameplay modes, plus the obligatory versus mode. There's a story mode and a hero challenge mode, which is basically just your arcade mode. Now, the cool thing about the story mode is that each character's story actually takes place in its own universe, featuring its own characters, themes, and tone. You fight the same opponents, but their role in each story may be completely different. So, you know, this character might have this sort of role in the story of this character, but they might be, you know, essentially completely different in a different character's story. Each one has its own side characters, and impressively, the story mode is completely voiced, even for the side characters. And essentially, as you play through the story modes, you feel like you're basically going through a short season of a mecha anime. So to give you a few examples, Dixon's story plays out basically like a Gundam anime. You start out as a pilot in training, moving on to some sort of big, you know, galaxy-based war. DNS 17's story is more of like a magical girl kind of anime. G Kaiser is reminiscent of like the big save the world super robot anime. And then Wise Duck's story is more of a gritty military kind of story.
混合機には機械王そのものだ。ちゃんだけじゃない父さんと母さんの形見なんだ。なぜと言われてはいそうですかと渡せるわけねえだろ。
そう言葉でもわからないね。なら力で教えてあげるわ。順平君気をつけて。
Now, not only do the stories cover different genres, but a lot of them also have branching paths and different endings, which adds a ton of replay value. Usually, to get these branching paths, you have to either make a choice at the end of the mission, which is easy enough, but some of them are a little bit more complicated, such as fulfilling certain conditions during your previous fight. It might be a time limit, it might be don't get knocked down, it might be finish using a final attack, that sort of thing. The stories really come across as love letters to the various mecha genres, and they're basically very familiar without being parody. You know, they're referential, but in a paying tribute sort of way.
何十年かぶりに私はワイズダックに会いに来た。物言わぬ赤さびた巨体は昔のように黙って私を迎えてくれた。私の名はアービン・クロフォード。軍曹もトーマスも皆死に新兵だった私だけが生き延びている。あの少女も今では結婚して母親になっているそうだ。ここで私たちが戦った敵が何だったのかは結局分からずじまいだったが、これだけは言える。私たちは兵士としてではなく人間として戦い勝ったのだと。
Although that said, even if you are not a huge mecha aficionado, I think you'll still enjoy them. So how about the gameplay? Well, as I stated, each character plays quite differently. They each have moves fitting of their themes, and the strategies can be pretty different depending on which character you play. So Dixon is pretty mobile. You can call out drones similar to funnels from Gundam. Twinzam V actually has a transformation mechanic, sort of making it two characters in one. And then Wise Duck plays out almost like a tank. It's actually completely incapable of jumping, but has extremely high damage and a lot of long-range options. And then, of course, you have your overpowered boss characters, just like all the Capcom games from this era, who unfortunately are not playable. I don't think there's any way. I didn't even see any action replay codes or anything when I looked it up to get them playable. But it's a small nitpick. Now, I won't say that all the characters are necessarily completely balanced, but in my opinion, fun factor is far more important than everything being completely balanced. In addition to the gameplay, you got a decent number of extras, including the ability to view the entirety of story mode, all the different paths, endings. You've got concept art, you've got character and mech bios, and you've got short cinematics for each mech. There's also a fully animated sort of anime opening that I've played at the beginning of this, with its own theme song and everything. It's pretty sick. There are also a few mini games, several of which are playable on the Dreamcast VMU. You download them to there, and there are these little mini games. So now that I've convinced you that you need to play Techromancer, how the heck do you do this? Well, unfortunately, the game is pretty expensive. At the time of recording, loose copies on eBay are in the $80 to $100 range, and box copies are going for about double that. You don't even think about trying to buy the arcade PCB. It is expensive. The game has unfortunately not been ported to anything, which is a serious crime. If you're one of those lucky people who held on to your Dreamcast and your games, great. But you're going to be shelling out a pretty penny for this one. This basically leaves emulation as the main way that most people are going to be able to play this. I unfortunately was one of those people that kept my Dreamcast, but we really need a port. And honestly, Capcom is sitting on so many great IPs that are just sitting there doing nothing. Can we get this ported to modern systems and maybe a sequel? That would be incredible. So, in conclusion, if you have any interest in mecha, fighting games, Capcom, you need to give Techromancer a try. Whatever form that takes. It's one of my all-time favorite games, one that I put a ton of time into, and one that I think you will enjoy as well. And who knows, maybe Capcom could be convinced to grant us a port or a new game. Maybe. Probably not, but I'll keep holding out hope. Yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you all very much for watching. I'll also be posting a full long play of this game on my channel, probably in a couple weeks. That being like a start-to-finish playthrough with no commentary. I'm going to use my favorite character, which is Dixon. And honestly, I could probably be convinced to play through all the story modes and post those. So if you think that would be interesting, let me know. I'm giving a little try to move the channel in a little bit of a different direction. In the past, I've sort of done more Let's Play content. Not that that's going to go away, but I realized that, like, I feel like Let's Play content is kind of going away in modern YouTube. And I don't watch a lot of it, so why would I make it if I don't watch it? So I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep doing long plays, but I want to start doing a lot more of these, like, summaries or mini reviews as well. To kind of show you, hey, here's why you should be interested in the game, and then do a full playthrough of it. So if that's a format that you think works a little bit better, let me know. If you still like the full playthroughs, I mean, I could probably do those as well, but I'm thinking this is probably the direction I'm going to be moving in now. Not to say, again, that Let's Play content is completely moving away, but anyways, that is about all I had for you today. Techromancer, it's incredible. It's wonderful. I love it. You'll probably love it. Give it a look, no matter how you have to do so. That's about all I had for you. Until next time, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Take care, and God bless.